So in this part 44, we are going to actually display the data in a React application exactly about the same way we have it right here in TimeLib, and we are going to do the same thing in React. Currently, in the previous tutorial, we were able to fetch data, and we can see this data displayed right here in the console, but we now want to display in the web page. Okay. All right, so let's go do this right now, and keep in mind that we are now in part 43, and so let's continue. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is to install Bootstrap. So let me come back to our application. So the first thing we want to do is to install Bootstrap. So I'm going to open, maybe I'm going to close this, and I'm going to open another tab. So to install Bootstrap, you are going to run the command npm install react bootstrap minus save. I think I did install it, so maybe it's going to just reinstall, but if you are just doing it for the first time, that is fine. Okay, so I have Bootstrap installed now, and I'm going to go to the parent application, I mean the parent component, which is the app.js, and then import Bootstrap in app.js. Once we import Bootstrap in app.js, it's going to trickle down to the child component. For instance, this is a child component. Again, if you look at this black space, we are going to remove it. So let me remove the black space first. Let me clean up this, and this black space, I think, is coming from this header. So let's just take out this header completely. And if I save everything now, Command S to save, we are going to see that we just have an empty space here. All right, so this is where we are. And now let's kind of do a bit of cleanup. So I'm going to go to first, okay, yeah. So here we are going to import Bootstrap here. So I'm going to say import, and Bootstrap should be in bootstrap / dist / css / bootstrap main.css bootstrap main.css. I think that should be it. Bootstrap.main.css. Okay, great. So we have Bootstrap now. So I'd like us to add maybe some kind of header so that this kind of makes some sense. So I'm going to go to Bootstrap website and see if I can find header. So I'm going to say Bootstrap template or Bootstrap template. Okay, so I'm going to go to this example Bootstrap, and I'm going to just look for one simple one so that I can just take the header. So this starter template is okay. So I'm going to maybe view the page source, and I'm simply going to copy the name, that should be this one, and I'm going to use it in our application. So I'm going here, and actually it doesn't. 1 second. So this is the name. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so I'm going to the app component. This is our app component, and I'm going to simply add it right here. So let me see. So this form, I can actually just take out this form from here. Okay. So I've added a header. So basically I can just collapse it. So this is what we added, this, and then the table is going to just be under the name bar. All right. So maybe I can just add something like a HR here. Okay, I think it's gonna work. Why is it not? Okay, maybe I'm just gonna take it out. Okay, so this is fine. So if I save everything and we go back to the page, let's see how it appears. And with the name bar is just okay, as you can see right here. So if you want, you can actually change it BG to BG, whatever, BG sort size. If you want something that looks a bit green, it's going to also be fine. And I like saying this is going to be, I'm going to give a caption here: FleetMS V2 React UI, or maybe I'll just say FleetMS React UI. Okay, so this is where we are now. Now we want to display the table under this place, okay? So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to add the markup for the table. This is where we are going to add the markup for the table right here, okay? So how about saying table slash table, and this is table slash table, and that is fine. And normally we should have t head and t body. T head, sorry, this is not right. So we have t head and we should have t body, right? T body as well. Okay, great. So we now have t head and t body, and now we are going to add inside the head. We should have 2 items or more. It should be more. So here we should have tr, and let's just have one more tr here. Tr as well. So this is going to be description, and this one is going to be the id. Okay, so this is a header for now. So in the body now we need to do a bit of work. So it's not as easy as in Angular just to copy table markup. We are going to actually take the countries and use a map function to loop through the country, and for each of the items in the country list we are going to return a complete row of different columns. But before we do that, I'm going to, in this component did mount, this response value, this response that is coming back, you mean this response here, instead of only logging into the console, I'm going to also assign it to the state. So I'm going to say this dot set state, I'm going to now say countries is going to be response. So I'm assigning the country to the state, so I'm able to use it here in the render function. Okay, so in T-body now, this is where we are going to do a bit of work. So we're first going to have this open and close because we are going to be evaluating the values coming back. So I'm going to say countries.map. So in this countries.map, I'm now going to provide a function that returns a HTML for one single row. So for each map item, we have one single row, and once it maps through all of them, it's going to add all the rows to the table. So maybe I'm going to try to use an arrow function here. So I'm going to say country. So for one country, is going to be an arrow function like this. Okay, perfect. So what are we going to return? We are going to return td, and we are going to return another td. Yeah, so actually we are going to return a tr containing 2 tds. So actually we are going to return one row. For each country we should have one row, so this is going to be one single row return. So I'm going to have here, I'm going to have /tr. Okay, so this is what we have at this point. So we are going to add the country.id here. So I'm going to say country.id, and then the second one I'm going to add country.description. Sorry, not you. So it's going to be country.id, country.description, and that should be correct. So why is it complaining? Expression statement is not. Okay, I think I know what the problem is. So in these countries here, we can see there's a typo here. So it's going to be countries. It should be equal to response.data. Okay, so the data is available in the response object. So if you actually look at this place, you can actually see that the data is available here. So the response actually contains a number of things, but what we need here is just the data. So if I come back here and save everything, so I'm going to save all, and you can see that that error should go away and we should have some data. Okay, for some reason this is not working. So let me try to change this from, instead of using an arrow function, let me just use a normal function call. So I'm going to say function. Okay, so actually this is going to be return. Okay, so this should be it. So now I'm using, instead of using an arrow function, I'm using a return statement. So I'm going to save everything, and if we go back here, you can see that we have the ID and the description right here. So, but we also have a problem here. We have tr/tr. So this actually should be td. So if I go back now, you can see that it displays a little bit correctly. But now we are going to kind of style the table so that it looks good. So for some reason it's going behind. So this is okay. So I'm going to now add a styling to this to the table. So I'm going to go back to the existing application FleetMS and copy this table style here, which is table style strip advanced table hover, and I'm going to simply use it here. Replace this command V, and I'm going to save everything as well. And going back here, you can see the table displays now. So at this point, I will allow you to spend some time to now correct the display yourself to display correctly. So basically what you are going to do, so add a few more fields, ID description, code, and then add a few more fields here as well. So this is where we end our React, attaching a React UI to our FleetMS version 2, because this is not a React class. I'm just trying to show you, just in case you want to go through to the React route, you can actually start doing React. I have all the materials specified in the description, all the tutorials I have created them, so you can actually start building a React UI if you want. And I'm going to stop here. So in the next part, we are now going to continue from where we stopped. We are going to be doing toast messages and pop-up confirmations recommended by Maurice Okoro and ASQMA. So remember, I'm Kyneton the Tech Pro, and I'm always there for you.